100 thousandths, that is. $200. All right, well, we're still waiting on parts. If you can believe it, this is the heater core attachment on the back of the passenger side head. That is a 1 3/8 inch hex head. And there's the size of the hole there, and there's the size of the hole as it goes into the head. It's even smaller, so that seems to be kind of rubbery. I'm assuming it's a reducer to reduce flow going into the heater core. That's purely a guess, though. I've never messed with one of these. And a little bit of rust down in there. Not sure what I'm going to do about that. Maybe nothing. It was Cadillac blue, and it will be again. So that's the beauty of it. Still left a little bit of the original paint on there, but we got it cleaned up well enough to get back in the head. So over here, we got rocker arm assembly cleanup. Now, let me show you what we got still in the bag first, just, you know, for reference. So this is driver's side front. You see what that looks like, right? Yep. Now, granted, what I'm doing is probably silly, probably not needed, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. That's what they look like now. Basically new. That's WD-40 to keep it from rusting. The wire is to denote the one that was on the right for this particular assembly, because they wear, you know, anyway. So, and you know, all cleaned up. They don't see, I mean, there's the normal amount of wear down in there. I'm assuming it's normal. It's a little shiny, but nothing drastic, I don't think. You guys tell me. See that little spot of wear right there? Is that anything to worry about? I don't think it is. And the bolt is clean as well. WD-40, perfect condition. And you know, going with the old chem dip. Got the other side of this particular rocker assembly in the chem dip, along with the rocker shaft itself. And it's sticking out the top. That's the reason I got the plastic on there. We'll take the other stuff out in an hour. Only takes about an hour, hour and a half. And then we'll take the long piece and we'll flip it over and then stick it back in there. And so that probably take a couple hours to do one rocker arm assembly. So you're looking at, you know, 5 or 6 to do the whole shebang, I guess. And as I take them out, wash them up in a little mineral spirits, rinse it off. Yeah, this is nasty, but that's what I'm doing. I want it to be clean. I want it to be new and fresh and good to go for another 105,000 miles. Under hood, I've been cleaning the gasket material off of the driver's side of the engine. Got more WD-40 down in there to keep things from rusting. I got most of the gasket material off of the head, but it's still, you know, not what I'd call pretty. So, and I didn't really get that section up there off as much as I need to. Plus that little bit of coagulation there from the coolant in that one dead end spot there needs to be cleaned out as well. So the reason why I stopped was like, you know what, there's got to be a better way than this. So I was like, well, you know, what did you use back in the day? Well, you used gasket remover, you goofball. Why don't you just do that? You know, plus I saw a guy on YouTube do it. So, I mean, back in the day, I used to use gasket remover all the time. I mean, why would you not use it for that? So, and would you believe it? For whatever reason, gasket remover is hard to come by. Ordered a can of CRC gasket remover from O'Reilly. Taking 2 days to get here. Crazy. Anyway, I'm going to pick it up in the morning, the gasket remover that is, and we'll spray a little on this head. We'll clean it up really nicely and get it done, and we'll move on to the other one. All right, there you go. There's one whole rocker assembly and rockers all cleaned up. So, yeah, worked out pretty well, I think. Got everything kept in its original orientation and alignment, so we know what goes where. This is the driver's side front So that means 1 and 3 actually. So anyway, cylinders 1 and 3. There you go. All right, all cleaned up. So that means I'm gonna painstakingly do all the rest of them. I'm not gonna make you watch that, but we're gonna get it clean nonetheless. Oh yeah, and this thing right here, the mounting bracket, I guess you might say. Thank you, heater, for a job well done. Looks like the spots. I'm guessing that's corrosion of some sort. You know, car set up for a long time over the year. 56 years old, you know, it's, or no, I take that back. 71 miles, 54 years old. So, you know, there's spent a lot of time sitting up, and I guess that left some time for some sort of corrosion or pitting or rust or something to set up in there. But, yeah, at least we got the grease and grime off of it. And the goal here is just to clean up the engine as best we can. So hopefully the heads will come back today. That'd be kind of nice. Hopefully, this is Friday, by the way. Hopefully I'll get a call from the machine shop, and we'll be able to get those heads back home and start that process. So, but anyway, in the meantime, I've got this stuff came in from O'Reilly finally, and went over there this morning and picked it up, and I'm going to start using this to clean up the engine block. So, all right, more later. All right, it's Friday evening, about 5 till 4, and I just got a phone call from the machine shop about 10 minutes ago. It took me that long to get from my house to the interstate, don't you know? I've been up underneath the hood of the Cadillac cleaning the engine block, getting it ready for the heads. I tried several different things, and I was being really careful. I didn't want to damage anything, you know. I did a razor, and I had the gasket remover spray-on stuff. That works really well, by the way. I recommend it for small stuff. But really, I got kind of fed up with it, and I talked to my buddy. I said, hey, man, can I speed this up? You know, this is really painstaking. It's like, yeah, just use it's cast iron, right? Well, just use a brass wire brush. I'm like, he goes, you know, it's not going to damage the cast iron. I'm like, duh. So I had one of those, put it on my little cordless drill, and man, that worked a treat. Let me tell you what. I got the driver's side all cleaned up, and I just got the gasket off of the passenger side, and I'll be when I get back to the house, I'll start cleaning up that one as well. But we're getting close to, you know, we're getting close. We're getting closer. Let's just leave it at that. My general plan was to get the lifters back and use them as, you know, a tester for the camshaft. But I think what I'm going to have to do is clean up a couple of the Chevy Corvette lifters and get the gunk and the residue off of them, so that when I put them in the Cadillac, they'll slide in there real nice, you know. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use them to with a dial gauge and crank the engine over, and I'm going to check the lift of the camshaft. So I saw a guy on YouTube do it that way. I was like, well, that's a pretty good idea. I think I'll try that. Really don't want to take the camshaft out, but you know, if it's screwed up, you know, I'll replace it. We got our head bolts in from the CAD company. They look fantastic. Got the head gaskets already. Valve cover gaskets are on the way. Not too concerned about that, but they'll be here in a few days. Anyway, I'm headed to the machine shop, and we're going to get our refurbished heads. Oh yeah, one more thing. I was like, well, how bad off were they? And one of my viewers said, you know, I've never seen heads that were flat. Well, flat is relative. I asked the guy at the shop, I was like, how bad off were they? He goes, well, so anywhere from 3 to 5 thousandths off. I don't know if there was like a low spot or something like that. So maybe the middle had a low spot. I'm not really sure. I'll find out after I get them back, and I'll talk to him at length. So anyway, I'm excited. Let's go get some heads. We'll talk to you in a bit. All right, we got our heads back there, nestled away in the back of the truck, and we are about to head home. Hey, check out this. Look at, there's I don't know, you can't really tell, but there's like a mint condition Packard behind that fence for sale, and you never can tell what you're going to find in a local machine shop. But there she is, right there. Kind of a small place, but they got me in and out of here in a week. So How about that? All right, I'm nearly done cleaning up the block. I just got it covered up with paper there. And got waiting on some Rolock little fuzzy things to come in, don't you know? So I was talking to a friend of mine on the Facebook thing. He's in that Cadillac 472 page, you know. He's good to go. He's like, yeah, just use the red Rolocks, you know. It's the way to go. Way faster. I'm already actually almost completely done, but I just wanted something speedy and quick to really finish up and make it, you know, really nice. So, you know, there's the passenger side. I basically I did it manually. It took like hours. So, but right now I want to check the camshaft, and I'm thinking to myself, it's been a minute since this engine turned over, and the only oil in it is left in the longitudinal runners inside the engine block and in the pan. Before I spin it over, I'd kind of like to pump some oil into the camshaft bearings. So yeah, that's what I want to do. So anyway, I'm taking the distributor off. This is a CRT performance distributor, by the way. It's been a good product. Hadn't had any problems out of it. Anyway, I pulled the cap and wires. They're sitting in the trunk, and anyway, so. And I go through this stuff with you guys because, you know, just for sanity check, you know, just kind of review. 1/2 inch on the distributor bracket. So we'll go ahead and pull that off the engine. During all this, I'm going to paint this air conditioning bracket, and I'm going to clean up top of the engine here, and I'm going to do a better job on that thermostat housing. I didn't do a very good job on it that last time, so nothing earth-shattering here, but you always want to be, you know, careful. The distributor is a very, in my mind, precision thing, you know. Do I got wires grabbing? Oh, I didn't disconnect the wire. Well, we'll get it out of there. And then there's the wiring harness. Let me grab the cutters. This one wire, I don't even think it's used. Somebody's running up and down the street on a motorcycle. I bet they're having fun. It's a beautiful day. Anyway, CRT performance. Good stuff. Now, you folks don't forget to remind me that the gasket is on the distributor. It's not. It didn't stay on the motor. So anyway, don't want to lose that. So I picked up this engine oil primer a while back. It's, you know, meant for a Chevrolet V8. And you got these two attachments here. I guess you put them in the end of the motor to keep it from wobbling around. I like this one here. And it just sits like that. We'll go with that. Put it on the low speed, I think. Ooh, I hear oil. Let's move this out of the way. That's cool. I could see oil coming out and being pumped out of the lifter bores. How about that? I think that's good enough. Got the oil to come up out of the bottom and then get down and get into the lifter bay. Anyway, before we crank the engine up, when we get this thing back together, we're going to change this oil and go with a good high quality break-in oil, because when we get the lifters back from the cam grinder, we're still going to have to do the break-in period, you know, the 20 minutes for 2,000 RPM. If all we do is just put the lifters back in after they've been reconditioned, because, you know, you're not putting the same lifter in the same bore, clearly. They've been reconditioned, so they're basically brand new, and they have to be mated to the camshaft. So you got to do the break-in again. Even if we don't replace the cam, we're still going to do that. I just wanted to get a little bit of oil, you know, circulating, and then now I think I'm going to be ready to, I'm going to go ahead and clean up one of those Chevy small block lifters over there. And I test fitted one in the bore earlier. I think they're basically the same size. So anyway, I'm going to clean one up and use that for my test platform to run the dial indicator and see if I can check these cam lobes out, make sure the camshaft is good to go. All right, I'll be back shortly. Up next, I think I'm going to take the fan off here because it can't be in the way, because we have to turn the motor over and this thing has got to get out of my way. Remove the pulley as well, and these belts. All right, I got my dowel gauge set up there, and I got a lifter stuck in there. And right now I'm just kind of experimenting. And got my big old 3/4 inch wrench I bought at Harbor Freight recently here on the crank. And let me tighten up this bolt. Crank bolt on these motors is a 9/16 by 18. Kind of a rare bolt these days. You don't see them much. You got to order one. I got you guys set up over here. Took me a while to get this thing set up. Don't want to be touching it much, that's for sure. Just making sure it goes back to the same spot. All right, had to reposition my setup here. Had some questions in my mind as to whether or not this was working. So we got it going on now, I think. All right, here we go. And we're right on the 0 there. Coming up. You guys count with me now. 100 thousandths, that is. $200. Hopefully my stuff won't bottom out and I'll have to reposition. That's like 250 thousandths. That's weird. I might have to reconsider this setup. Ooh, crap. I am activating the mechanical fuel pump and dripping gasoline into the lifter valley. That's awesome. So, I was listening to probably one of the foremost experts on these engines on the YouTube explaining the rocker arm ratio, specifically the stock rocker arm ratio. It's advertised, well, let me use a different word, that it's proclaimed to be 1.65 as compared to, say, the Chevrolet small block rocker arms, which are 1.5. Anyway, the Cadillac is 1.65. So if we take what I just measured here on the dial indicator, 0.254, 1 point times 1.65, that's equal 0.4191, or 0.42 really. The intake is 0.44. However, the rocker arm ratio can change. It starts smaller and can get even beyond 1.65 as it compresses the valve. And this is because the tip of the rocker arm moves from one side of the valve stem to the other. This is not me talking. This is Scott Hatch over on his YouTube channel, okay? He's the professor, right? He is the Cadillac 472-500 professor. What he says goes, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so the way he explained it was, the ratio is going to change, and it can be as high as 1.7 and even 1.72. So let's just assume it's 1.7 at its full extent, its full travel, the rocker arm, let's say. 254 times 1.72 is a 0.43688. So you could round that up to 0.44, I suppose. That is a 3 thousandths difference. What I measured there was really, using the Chinese dial indicator, was probably spot on accurate. Taking into account the variability in my setup, the dial indicator was not perfectly situated in line with the lifter. It was a little off because, hell, the geometry of the whole thing. The little outcrop on the back of the dial indicator got in the way of the lifter valley wall, and that you had to position the dial indicator so it was sort of at an angle, right? So when it came up, and that little difference, it probably accounts for that. So I think, or that one lobe that we checked, I forget which one it was. I think it was 4. It's probably okay. It's probably fine. However, the whole gasoline thing, if I want to check each and every lobe on the camshaft, I'm going to need to hook up a rubber hose and connect it to that hard line so that when I turn the engine, it pumps gas into like a jar or something, you know. And I don't really want to take that line loose from the fuel pump because it's just added work. So I got to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to continue checking all these cam lobes and verifying them? That will take me, because I'll have to readjust the dial indicator each time. That'll take me 5 minutes to readjust the dial indicator on each one, and then it'll take 10 minutes to check, right? Because you've got to turn it, make sure everything's correct, make sure it's accurate. You know, you're talking about thousandths of an inch here. So I've got to make a decision as to whether or not I want to do all that and check the camshaft, and then say to myself, I feel confident in every single solitary measurement that I made on that camshaft, and I feel like that camshaft is it's good to go. Or we upgrade the camshaft. And some of my viewers have said, you know, that's not a bad idea. So I'm on the fence, folks. I'm on the fence. Yes, the idea of a new camshaft is appealing to me. I'm not saying it isn't, but at the same time, I'm not trying to build a race car here. You know, if I do buy a new camshaft, it's probably going to be, you know, either a stock replacement or something that's slightly elevated, you know, with just a slight hint of additional performance. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Meantime, let's go ahead and start reassembling one of these heads. Well, all right, we got our heads back from the machine shop, and I'm thoroughly pleased with the outcome. You'll note that the valve seats, they have this kind of a dark color here, and they put this thing through a derusting machine. There's various chemicals involved in all this. Deruster, and then they mill it, and then they did a final wash. And I asked about the discoloration of this little bit of darkening here. They said it was normal. It was because of the derusting process. I'm assuming there's a chemical in there, kind of like, I don't know, what's similar to maybe other rust conversion technologies. I'm making an assumption. I really have no idea. But anyway, they just said that this was the result of the rust vat and the cleaning vat, and that there's, you know, no issues there at all. So the only thing left for me to do is to assemble the heads. So I forget which one it was. He said there was must have been this one here. Said that one of them, or maybe both, there was a dip right in the middle, 0.002. So they went ahead and just milled them and got them flat. And you can tell right here on the edge. Yeah, you can tell you can see the milling marks. So yeah, looks good to me. And the price was right. So we got this done at Hurley Engine Service in Birmingham, Alabama, believe it or not. Talked to a man named Jason, great fellow. Let's go ahead and put them back together. But I tell you what, let's go ahead and give these heads a coat of Cadillac blue. So I'm going to go ahead and tape these off real quick. And well, I say real quick, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we all know how particular I can be. Yeah, that's very satisfying right there. That's what I'm talking about. This is going to take hours. All right, I got the stuff taped off here, front and back, top, sides, spark plugs, all that kind of stuff. Got a piece of this can left of this Hirsch Cadillac dark blue enamel, 1949 to 1976, batch number 220263-40122. This is 2 years old, May of 2022. The sprayers, I sprayed that bracket with it yesterday, and it's a little cloggy, but you know, it'll be okay. And this stuff goes on nice and thick and solid, and we shouldn't have any problems with aeration inside the room here. You know, it's settling on the vehicles and whatnot, so it'll be okay. I've done this before. I think we'll only need one coat, really. I've got a whole new can in the cabinet over there, by the way. So, all right. Here's the water neck from the thermostat housing, and as you can tell, well, it's old. You know, it's got pitting on it, but it'll be all right. We can still run it. You know, these cars are, parts for these cars are, I would imagine you could find one somewhere, but there's no reason to replace this. So we'll put some paint on it. I basically soaked this overnight in vinegar, by the way, to get all the rust out of the pits. So, yeah. All right, blue for you. All right, it's the next day, and let's go ahead and unmask our work. And let's see how well we did. Taking the tape off is always a satisfying thing. The paint on the head is dry, but the paint on the tape is still tacky. That's kind of weird. So, yeah, anyway, it takes a little while for this paint to dry when it's cool. It's been, you know, at night, it's in the 40s, so out here in the shop. Doesn't have to be perfect. Has he lost his mind? Tried to keep it along the line there where the intake manifold is gonna meet up with it, you know. Missed a spot. Oh well. That's weird. Why would the paint dry on the head but not on the tape? See, that's got paint on my hands from the tape. I've seen some guys paint heads and they just don't care anything. They'll just get paint all down in here, but in my mind, that's foolish. And it looks like crap. All right, I think I got everything. Okay, we got newly painted heads. Got to take those spark plugs are in there. I guess we don't need those right now. Put some tape on those to keep the spark plugs from getting painted blue. So there's nothing wrong with them. I'm gonna just put them back in there. I mean, they hadn't been run all that long, so. We forgot about the exhaust ports here. I don't know why I taped them up. I just like, well, that just seems appropriate. I'm gonna do it anyway, even though it seems like, you know, OCD. I can't imagine why anybody would call me OCD. But up next, I think it's time we reassemble our head. All right, we got our driver's side head here, and let's you know, let's see how far we can get here. I got a little mineral spirits here. I just wanted to clean out these valve guides just to make sure there's no last minute debris left in there. Shouldn't be. Look at that, and I can see the camera through the hole. How about that? And I got my valves set up over here next to me. Let's just play it by ear. Intakes first. There we go. Nylon brush. That's really clean down in there. All right, number 2 intake right over here. Clean. I like that. We'll have a small smear of oil on the valve. Good sound. All right, we got our kit here with our umbrella seals, shims, spring, and retainer. And last but not least, the keepers. I'll dab a little engine oil down here in this umbrella seal. There we go. Yeah, real easy. I was thinking there was like a special tool for this. I think for the seals that have like a spring on them, there's a tool that you need to use to make it a lot easier for you. But for these umbrella seals, you know, it's just not needed. So that's pretty cool. And let's see, let's put on a shim next. I think these are needed because these springs are not the same length as the stock ones. These are a little bit shorter. So, all right. Now we're just going to get our spring compression tool set up real quick, and then we'll put these keepers on. Thought maybe I'd need these gloves to keep my hands from getting all greasy, but they're just going to get in the way, I think. I'm going to take them off. There we go. Tighten this rascal down a little bit so we can get our keeper on there. Whoopsie. We're going to loosen our valve spring compression tool. There you go. There you go. And the tool fell apart. Let me put that back together and we'll do the next valve. All right, pretty much same process all the way down. Let me finish all the rest of them and I'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, there you go. Driver side head all done. And got all the valves in there. Good to go, in my mind. I dare say you could go back to the previous video where we pulled this thing apart and notice a drastic difference. And hopefully they look a lot better than they did when we removed them. So this head right here is ready to go back onto the car, and I'll go ahead and do the other one off camera. But I think this has brought us to the end of our video. This one ran a little bit long because I was making some decisions this weekend. So this is a Tuesday, so it'll be a Tuesday evening when I get this uploaded. Usually I try to get them in on the weekend, but I was a little late on that one. Sorry about all that. But I think right now what I'm going to do is go inside and order a new camshaft. So we'll talk more about that in the next video. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below, right down there. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy restoring, taking care of, and driving your classic Cadillac.